Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about how much vacation rental property managers charge. So how much do vacation rental property managers charge? By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of the costs associated with hiring a vacation rental property manager. And you'll also understand the value that they bring to your rental business. This knowledge will help you make an informed decision that will save you time, it'll help reduce stress, and potentially increase your rental income. So have you ever wondered why some property managers charge more than others? Or what exactly you're paying for when you hire a vacation rental property manager? So stay tuned as I reveal the various fee structures and services that come with vacation rental property management. Next, I'll talk about the different factors that affect price. And finally, I'll talk about the pros and cons of each. Ready? Let's go. What are the different services and fee structures that exist for vacation rental property management companies? Well, I like to divide them into three different categories. The first one is full management. Now, what does that mean? A full property management company does just that. They do everything. They are full service. From the bookings to the guest communication, to the cleaning, to the maintenance, to the handyman, they handle everything for your vacation rental property. Their goal is to handle everything to where you don't have to put any time or energy into it. You are a financial investor. You're hiring them to take all the stress off your shoulders and to be able to just receive the money that comes in from owning a vacation rental property. However, I have seen quite a variance in the fees that they charge, anywhere from 10% on the low end all the way up to 40% on the high end. And out of our 5 vacation rental properties, 2 of them are fully service managed, and the fee structures are quite different. Now, we own a property down close to Disney, and we have a property management group down there. They typically charge anywhere between 15 to 20%, but because we utilize them for the buying process and we also utilize them for the cleaning process, they were able to only charge us 10% to manage our vacation rental down in Florida. And they do an amazing job. We consistently get 5-star reviews and our calendar has been booked. One cool thing they also do that I really love is every single month, they will send out what they project the income to be and what the actual income is. So we're able to see where are we falling short, where can we get more bookings, where are the times during the month that we can typically charge more or might need to charge less to get more guests in there. And then we also own a vacation rental property up close to Yellowstone, and it's managed by an organization called Cabino, and they also do a great job. Now, they have fee structures that range between 25% and 35%. And when we bought this property, it was already being managed by Cabino, and the person that we bought it from was utilizing them and paying them 35%. And we looked at that and said, okay, what's the difference between 25% versus 35%? And in this case, the 35% allowed them to come in twice a year and update photos with brand new photos that are professionally done. They also do a marketing package every single year for that cost. And then the additional thing they do for the 35% management fee was they pay all of your bills. So you literally had to do absolutely nothing. We thought if we could save 10%, we're gonna go that route. We'd pay our own bills and we would pay for a professional photographer that went in there once a year to update photos. And if you think about it, that property's gross revenue is $150,000 a year. So to save 10%, that's gonna drop $15,000 more into our books rather than theirs. So the second type of management company is what I call a half service management company. And those are companies out there like Evolve or Vacasa. So what does half service mean? Well, just like the name says, they do half the service that a full service does. So they handle bookings and that's about it. They will do some guest communication. They'll shoot for the 5-star reviews, but you handle everything else. Now they do have contacts for cleaners or potential handymans in those areas. And so we had an experience when we first bought our property up in Georgia, close to Blue Ridge. It wasn't a vacation rental. We went in and we turned it into a vacation rental property. And because we were a little bit inexperienced with self-management, we hired Evolve to do this. Now with half service management companies, there's also a difference in pricing. Evolve charges 10%, Vacasa charges 20 to 25%. I don't know what the difference is between the two, but our experience with Evolve was great. They had a portal that we could check into every single time where we could get financial reports, we could see calendars, and they connected us with cleaners that we were able to set up and be able to communicate with them through their portal. And the experience was really good with Evolve. I thought that they did a great job. They gave us some great pointers on the photography, on the wording when they listed the property. But at the end of the day, we said, listen, we're doing most of the stuff anyway. If we could just get this property on Airbnb, Vrbo, or the other sites, we could save 10% that we're paying them that could drop to our bottom line. So we made that move after 1 year of working with Evolve. And as I mentioned, they did a great job. Would I use them again? Absolutely. But where we got comfortable with self-management, that's really where we decided to go, which brings me to the third way of managing, which is self-management. And essentially, this is where you do everything, right? And you don't pay anybody, but you do utilize your time. And when I first did this, when I started managing the properties properties on my own, I thought this was going to be really difficult or take a ton of time. Now, initially, it did take some time, but once you had systems in place and you got good at responding and having good guest communication and responding quickly, everything started to come in line. I had my cleaners lined up, I had my handymans and maintenance lined up to where I was able to operate it without taking a ton of my time. Now, there's certain times of the year when these properties get booked up or starting to get booked up and there's lots of questions, and that will take a little bit more time, but it's definitely not as much as I thought it was going to be, and saving that extra 10, 25, 40% makes a huge difference. So what are the factors that affect the pricing from full management all the way from 10% up to 40%, or even from half service from 10% to 25%? I think one of the things that I've noticed, for example, in Florida, where they charge a little bit less for full service, I think one thing that stands out to those organizations is a lot of the properties that they manage are fairly close together, or driving from one property to another isn't going to take 30, 45 to an hour and a half drive. The remote workers, they're usually not driving far distances to service those vacation rentals. So if you're more in a rural area, or if you have a vacation rental property that's in an area that is sparsely populated, then they're probably going to charge more. When I was first looking to hire somebody in Blue Ridge, Georgia, I started calling all of the full service property management organizations, and they range from 30% up to 40%. And one of the reasons they told me that they charge that much is they have to drive nearly 30 to 60 minutes away just to get to that property, and so do their service people, the handymen or the cleaning crew. And when we bought our property in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, we bought it with a group that was already doing a full service management. And they also charged anywhere between 20 to 35%. Now with us, they were charging us 25%. And they did some things that I thought were pretty cool. They were always replacing all of the toiletries. They were replacing the paper towels. They would also come in and fix basic things that needed to be done. Like if one of the stools at the counter was broken, they would replace that. So I thought the things that they did really added to us paying them as a full service organization. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each. Now, if we're looking at the pros and cons, it really comes down to time and money. If you're a person that values your time, you're probably going to want to go with a full service organization. Now, if you're somebody who has a little bit of time, but you're a little bit nervous about self-managing, then you might want to go with the half management organizations like Evolve or Vacasa. And obviously, if making money is your number one priority, I would recommend going with self-management. And here's why. Nobody cares more about your profit and your property than you do. And if you are paying a full service management company 30, 40%, even 20, 25%, that is significant money that is not dropping to your bottom line. And if you have the time, especially initially, to get the self-management in place, it's going to pay huge dividends for you down the road, and it allows you to then manage another company. And I know it seems like it takes a lot of time and money to go from one property and adding another, and all of a sudden you're self-managing 4, 5, 6 properties, but I promise it's not as significant. It's not like all the time you put into one is going to be doubled by the next property or tripled by the third property, right? It's incrementally increased your time, but just by a little bit. It's not doubling it or tripling it. And ultimately, if you look at the bottom line, I looked at a property that we had up in Island Park when we bought our second property up there. Both of the properties were projected and grossing over $150,000 to $160,000 every single year. And on the one that was fully serviced managed, we were paying 25%. If you're paying 25% of $150,000, you're looking at $37,500 that you're paying every year that could go to your bottom line. So when we bought the second property up there, we decided to self-manage, and that first year that property did $160,000. So it saved us nearly $40,000 to be able to self-manage versus a full service management company. Now, these are some things that I've seen when it comes to vacation rental property managements and what they charge, but I'd be interested in what you've seen. What are ways that you've saved money, or what are some groups you've worked with that have been really good that maybe didn't cost as much, or things they did that made the value that they did charge well worth it? So go ahead and comment below. Let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, just for stopping by and watching this video, I have a vacation rental calculator that you can click on the link below and have full access to it. You put in all of the data, all of the income, all the expenses, and it spits out to you whether it's a good deal or not. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com, and thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.